Hello, everyone. I am talking today about the fork in the road. And it's what I'm experiencing right now and what I'm really starting to see and starting to grasp and understand. And I'm super pumped to talk to you about it. It might be a little much, like always, when I get talking about things on my podcast or my lives, because sometimes, we're not ready to hear specific, things. And sometimes we are, and sometimes we'll take pieces of it. So take, whatever resonates and, whatever is, really you're not ready for, that's okay too, right? We're always exactly where we need to be on our journey. So the fork in the road, to me, in this moment right now, is almost as if, you know, it like think of the V, right? Like you're at the bottom of the V. That's the fork. Okay. So the one side of the V, the left side, is the path we've walked, right? Our entire life. So for me, it was a path of fear, a path of not knowing myself, a path of, the matrix and conformities, conditioning, thoughts and patterns that were not mine. They were what I was taught and told, right? Most of us have walked this path. Some of us are still kind of bouncing back and forth, and some of us are on the other road. And it's okay because we are always exactly where we need to be, right? So, for me, I feel like I am at the peak, you know, and bouncing back and forth between the roads. And what I find very interesting is that the path that, most of us have walked, and of course, myself included, is really truly driven by fear, driven by ego, which is a lot of the unbecoming, a lot of what we've been shedding, a lot of the things that we've been trying to see and gain awareness of, which, once we see, we are able to unleash, let go, shed the skin, and do the work, right? So when we think about the path of our ego and our, identities that we pretty much have lived, and this other path, right? Which I'm going to call the other side of the V, I'm going to call it the golden path of light. And the reason I'm calling it that is because I truly believe at the depths of my being that that path has always been there. It's always been available to us. And it's just been waiting for us. And we can't see the path because we're hostage to fear. We're locked in the fear states. We're locked in all of the identities and the thoughts and the stories that blind us. And you hear me say this all the time. When we are in any sort of ego state, we can only see that. We can only see the fear. We can only see that I'm not enough. We can only see through judgment eyes. We can only see the states we're vibrating at, right? But when we are in the truth, which is what we've been doing on this journey, you and I, the work of the unbecoming, and most of you are my clients, or you've worked with me in sessions before, or you've experienced some of my keynote talks. When we are on this journey and we start to experience these days on that golden path of light, we start to understand what that feels like. All right. And that is home. That's truth. That's ease. That's flow. That's love. That is just, it just is. The chaos is around you and outside of you, but it's not touching you. It's not penetrating you. It's not, ruling your mind, your thoughts, your stories. It is outside and you see it as thus, right? The path of the golden light is your path to walk, your destiny, right? Whatever that is. And when I say it's waiting for us, it's been there all along. But we can't put our foot on it or step on it when we are being pulled back by our ego and by fear. What happens is we want it, we dream about it. Some of us for years, if you're like me, dream about what that would feel like to be free or, to be walking in the things that you love, sharing your passions and purpose, right? Like we dream about it. It's like we know it exists. And the reason your dreams and your destinies are inside of you, inside your mind and inside your heart is because they are yours. You are actually dreaming and envisioning these things because that is your path. That is the golden path of light for you. And that's why you see that. That's why you dream about it. That's why you feel so drawn to it, whatever it is for you. All of us have our own dreams, our own destiny, our own, I wish I could do that, you know, and that is for us to walk, right? But most of us don't because of fear. So let me ask you this question. And it's one of the most powerful questions I ask my clients, and I ask my daughters all the time, and I ask myself sometimes, because this is helping us land on that golden path when we answer it. So here it is. I would write it down. I would keep this question for yourself and ask it every single day or every week or every month so you know you're always growing. What would you do tomorrow if you weren't afraid? Pause this. You might know the answers right away. And you might have heard me ask it before because you might have worked with me. But what would you do tomorrow if you weren't afraid? And as soon as you start to answer all of it, see everything that you would do. That's the way forward, my friends. And yes, you might be like, that's terrifying. I can't leave my job. I can't leave my marriage. I can't, decide to be an artist. I can't get on stage and speak. I can't go and teach, whatever it is, right? See that the only thing that's stopping you from your golden path, your destiny that you are meant to walk is fear, right? The stories that you're telling yourself that you can't do it, right? You can't walk that path. You can't take on your dreams, right? And to choose ourself and to choose the golden path of light, your golden path of light, it's going to take courage. It's going to take faith. It's going to take belief in yourself and in God and in the universe that you will be held, right? And so many of us have to build that, right? We're not ready yet. And that's what coaching sessions are for. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do with my clients. I build the faith within themselves. I build the courage within themselves because it's already there. We just have to uncover it and build it back up, right? So you can feel it again because everything is in you. It's just covered with all the fear, all the stories, all the conditioning, and all the beliefs that are not true. So we can't tap in to everything that is inside of us. That's why you hear as within, so without. As I shift everything inside of me, my outside world will shift with me, right? If I'm struggling with a sickness right now or a disease or I'm fighting, for my life, if I am locked in states of fear of, losing faith in the possibility of healing, not thinking anything but I am sick, or I am, suffering, whatever the stories are. We have to change that because we want to heal our bodies and we want to feel better and we want to, tap in to the healing power that our body does have to heal itself. We got to change our mind first. Right? We have to fill our mind with thoughts of I am healing. My body is returning to God's perfect pattern, right? My body knows what it needs to do to heal itself. But a sick mind of thoughts of fear and states of illness and, dread and fear is going to continue in that cycle, right? But if our body is not well and we start to fill our mind with thoughts of healing, of strength, of power, of my body can heal itself, God's returning my body to its perfect function. Like these are statements that I help with clients that are struggling with illness, right? This is how our body will start to listen and start to heal. And it goes in that cycle, that, spin of healing. But we have to first tackle our mind, right? So when we are thinking of our, fork in the road, we've got two, the road of fear or the road of love. The road of what most of us have walked, right? Of identities, of ego, of the chase, of, always having to achieve things, and to build this identity up and these false suits, of judgment, of pleasing others and trying to be somebody by buying things or, becoming another title. It's the path, the endless path of never being fulfilled. And if you know it all too well, just like I do, my friends, we have a choice. There but is another path, but we can't see it because we're blinded in the amnesia of the ego. And that's what I've been meditating on, thinking about, and really starting to really see. The ego states of fear, it's like an amnesia. It's like you are lost in it and you forget. You forget the truth of your powerful, essence. You forget there's another path. You forget it's waiting for you because you're locked in the fear states and the stories and the conditioning and all of the stuff that most of us have spent all of our life in, right? So they're very deep, deep, states that are in our subconscious mind. And it just kind of like activates, and before you know it, we're hostage to the fear. We're hostage to whatever other state is keeping you, in the spin of the same. But when we want to walk our destiny and our path and the answer of what would you do tomorrow if you weren't afraid, whatever that is for you, your golden path of light is that, right? When we want that, we must first understand the fear, know what it is doing. I want you to see it as keeping you from stepping into your greatness. Fear, yes, is part of our humanity. And it tries to keep us safe and comfortable and protected from other people's judgments, protected from failing. Of course, it's there so we don't actually hurt ourselves. We look both ways before we cross the road. But when it is activated in our mind, for things that we want to do, that is what we have to look at. Because the fear is what's keeping you from living. Remember that. The fear or fears is what's keeping you from living. It's keeping you on the other road, right? The road of lack, the road of scarcity, the road of never enough, the road of judgment, the road of guilt, the road of sickness, the road of just dread, right? The road of fleeting happiness, happiness that comes and goes but never stays. The road of not feeling whole, right? The road of not feeling enough, not worthy, not deserving. All of this we've lived, I know I have. I'm done with that road, man. I'm sure you are. I'm so done with that road. That road leads, to sickness. That road leads to pain in our bodies. That road leads us to feelings of dread and not living, right? We're just surviving. And I don't want to live in survival, right? Anymore. I want to live thriving in joy, in happiness, in my light, in love, in peace, in harmony, in sharing my gifts and talents, right? In connecting with others that are soul fulfilled just like you, right? And this is the golden path of light and being of service with your gifts and your talents, which you hear me say all the time that only you have. So when you answered the question, what would you do tomorrow if you weren't afraid? I would reflect on those answers. Your gifts and talents are probably integrated in there. Whether it's I would quit my job and open my art studio and paint. I would write my book. I would, open my retreat center. There's mine right there. I would take a course. I would, become a coach, whatever it is for you, right? But those answers, your gifts and talents are integrated in there somewhere because you might not know what they are. So reflect on that. And then we have the decision to walk the road of fear or the road of love, because that's the fork in the road, my friends. It is that simple. When I say it in words, it sounds very easy. Am I walking the road of fear or I walking the road of love? And you've heard me say this before too. Am I in service of fear? Am I in service of my ego? Am I putting my energy there? Or am I in service of my spirit? Am I in service of love? Am I in service of faith? Am I putting my energy there? It's always one or the other, my friends. We can never put it in both buckets. We either are in fear and we are in the amnesia and we're on that road and we're putting all our energy into that, or we are in love and we're on that road and we're putting our energy into that. And that's love for ourselves, love for others. People could be unkind to you on that golden path of light on that road, but they are not touching you. They're not penetrating you, right? I like to say that sometimes the unkindness that people might project at you or the judgment, they're like little daggers, that can get you and they hit you, right? And then it's almost like that poison gets in you, right? Their unkindness gets in you because we are asleep usually in the amnesia, right? So we just let it in. Then we're ruminating on what they said to us. We're upset. We're in like fear or guilt or like, judgment on them. And now we're in that poison. Okay. And they've like penetrated us in that way. And that's what we need to reject on the golden path of light. And when we're walking on the golden path of light, we understand that people that are going to project hateful words or judgment or criticisms or things that are just not kind, we know what that feels like. It does not feel good. And that's when we move it away energetically, right? We don't allow that to touch us. We send them blessings. We send them prayers, because we know that hurt people, right? They're hurting inside. They are struggling with something. So they're trying to bring us down into their level of consciousness, down into their pain, down into their yuckies. And it's our work to discern that and to go, no, I'm not going to drop down into this by matching that energy and like bantering back with you or getting into judgment with you. What's the saying? Don't play in the mud with the pig because you both get dirty and the pig likes it. Well, that is exactly it because you're both going to feel crappy. Right? So it's our work to discern that and to push it away and to send them blessings and to know I'm not going to allow that judgment to touch me. Why? Because I am not going to be in judgment. Judgment is a nasty skin. I don't want any part of that. I'm going to send that person blessings and release, this out of me. Because these are the things that make us sick, right? The judgment, the guilt, the shame, the condemnation on ourselves. You heard me talk about this so many times on my podcast. This is the stuff, right? And when we are walking the path of golden light and being of service, we have to be cleansed of that. That's the old path. We're not walking that path anymore, my friends. We've done the work. You've done the work with me. Yes, we do falter back into the fear. We falter into guilt. We dance back and forth, like I mentioned. But the more you're on that golden path of light, the more you don't drop into the amnesia of fear and of the old version of you. When you really start to see it. Because like I said, that path's been there this entire time, but we're unable to see it when we are in the states of fear and in the ego states and in our old suits. That's why the work of awakening is called awakening, because you gain vision, you gain sight. And what that vision is of you. That vision is of who you are. Your truest essence of love, of wholeness, that you are enough, you're worthy, you're deserving, and you can absolutely have everything you want and go after everything that you're afraid of. And that's the way forward. That is the secret sauce. And you're not going to want to hear that, but I'm going to tell you this. Everything that you want on that list is why you're afraid. Because you have to walk through fear to get there, don't you? That could be quitting your job. That could be having faith in, God and in yourself. That could be having to move through possible failure. Like, what if I fail? Right? That is you leaving your comfort zone and what's familiar, right? That is you getting uncomfortable and possibly allowing yourself to be open and to be judged by others. That's scary stuff for most of us. And this is why we don't do what we are being called to do from deep within. Your spirit speaks in quiet whispers, right? Your ego is raucous screams in your mind. You probably hear so much noise of fear and of doubt and disbelief in yourself, you barely can hear the quiet whispers of your soul and your spirit. You know it's there though. You know, we all do. We know what we dream about. We know what we're being called and pulled to do. It's just whether or not we are going to listen. And it's just whether or not we are going to take the steps through the fear. Because as we continue to understand that fear is what is keeping us blind, fear is what's the causing the amnesia, so you can't see. Fear is keeping you hostage. See it as thus. Fear is keeping you hostage on the other road and literally stealing your vision. I like to sometimes say that it's like holding our minds, right, in hostage, right? It's like keeping us in a prison. I've done a podcast many moons ago, Prison of Your Mind, right? So true, because we create our own prisons in our own mind. And this is what keeps us on that other road. So, how do you break free of that, right? How do you break free? You start to understand what you're afraid of. What is it, right? Which is why I asked you, what would you do tomorrow if you weren't afraid? And you need to understand too, what is in that fear, right? Is it judgment, fear of failure? Like I'm saying, unpack it. You know what I mean? Get underneath it. It's what we do in coaching sessions. It's very important. Why? Because we need to understand what we're really, truly afraid of. What's at the depth of the fear, right? It's always something. And it's different for probably everything on your list. And it could be the same. It could be fear of failing for all of it. It could be lots of different things. But the more you understand, the more you can see, which is always the first step, and then you get to make the decision. What do you want more? Right? Because both roads aren't going to be easy. Think about it. The road of fear, the road that we've walked, isn't easy. It's exhausting living in those mindsets, living in those states of suffering. It's familiar, it's comfortable, sure, but it's not easy. It's hard, isn't it? And the road and path of your golden light and your truest essence, your destiny. Not going to be easy to get there because we got to move through fear, right? We got to understand. We got to do the work. We got to remember we're whole, unique, resourceful, love ourselves, know that we're enough, know we're worthy, deserving. We have to do that work. And we do this work in coaching sessions, right? We uncover this. We work through. We start to see the truth. And as you start to know how powerful you are, you start to move through that fear. You start to have trust and faith in yourself that you've got this, right? The fear's there. You hear it, but you don't listen to it. You hear it, but you don't grab onto it, right? In your mind. You hear it, but you let it pass by. And you remember fear not, right? And I think I've shared this with you before. It says, fear not 365 times in the Bible, once for every single day of the year. Every day we are to fear not. Why was that said so many times? Because the whole spiritual path that we are all walking is to overcome fear and to return to the truth, which is who you really are. You are fearless deep down at your core. You might not believe it yet, but once you start tapping into that truth, that power of who you are, you'll start to feel it. You'll start to say, well, if I go do this, What's the worst that can happen? I'm judged. I might not be that good. I might fail. But guess what? I think that might be okay. Why? Because I love myself enough. I love myself through that. I know that there's no such thing as failure. It's only feedback. I'm going to grow. I'm going to evolve. It's going to catapult me onto the next thing, right? I know that if people are going to judge me, that's okay because I love who I am. Let them judge because I don't judge others and I don't want to play with judgment anymore, right? And if I don't succeed like I thought I would, who am I disappointing? Myself or others? And what matters more, right? And am I truly disappointing myself or am I disappointing my ego? That false identity that makes me feel I need to be somebody when I already am somebody, right? This is the stuff we unpack in sessions. Why? Because this is the stuff that we don't need, right? And when we can start to see every step that we take towards fear is a step on that golden path of light, when you start to know that the fear is just trying to keep you from even walking over there, and the fear is trying to keep you from staying in the suffering and on the other road and not even seeing the other one. That's the goal of the fear. It's to make you believe and think that another road doesn't even exist. It's not possible for you. And you can't even get there. It's way too far away. That's what the fear's doing. It's sneaky. It's very manipulative, right? And it's very loud. But if you're ready on this path, on this golden path of light that's waiting for you, I'm here, my friends, right? I'm doing it just as you all are. I'm walking it, right? And every time I take a step towards my fear, yeah, it's scary. Yeah, there's lots. It's noisy, it's loud. But what I've started to notice is that I've started to trade it for excitement, right? I've started to say, okay, am I afraid? Hmm, I don't know. I'm kind of excited, right? Because I know if I screw up or if I don't say this or if I fumble, I'm showing others that I'm not perfect. I'm showing others my humanity. I'm showing others that I can mess up. And that actually makes others feel even better, right? We try so hard to be perfect, right? We try so hard to be the best or to not even make a mistake. And when we're able to show up with all of who we are, and that means falling down, that means fumbling your words, that means maybe not doing it as you imagined it in your mind, but that's okay. That's okay because we're all just doing the best we can with what we know and what we've got. And you're showing others that you're doing the best you can. And that actually helps other people also when you are not perfect, right? So try to understand the fork in the road for yourself. Try to think about the amnesia, right? And how we fall asleep and we think that path's very far. Is it really far away? Maybe it's not as far as we think it is. Maybe the stories that we've been telling ourselves, the fear, the thoughts, the doubts, the disbelief, the world mind, you know, the rules and the laws of the world, maybe all of that is what's making it seem so far away. What if we start to dismantle all of that inside of us and we start to drop those veils? That's why they say the veil drops because it is just that. We can see the veil of fear drops because we can actually see that other road because we've dismantled it. We've dismantled everything that was covering it. We've dismantled the walls and the prisons that we built in our minds, that our ego has built to keep us safe. Love and compassion. We love that part of us. We don't condemn it, but we also allow it to take a little break, to take the back seat and let my spirit lead the way. Let my heart lead the way. Let our ego mind be in service of our spirit. We don't want to let our ego mind lead because then we're stuck on the road of fear. But when we allow our spirit to lead, which is fearless, the veils drop. We see, we feel calm, we feel at peace, we're present. We're not afraid anymore. We know we can handle it. We know that any problem that comes or any sort of difficulty that comes is an opportunity in disguise, just waiting for us to find resources and to keep growing because every circumstance is for your own expansion. It's for your own growth. It's not to stop you. It's for you to grow through it. It's lessons, right? And our job is to take on every lesson that comes. And as we take these lessons on, we start to raise our consciousness. And as we start to raise our consciousness, we start to drop the veils. And that's the path to overcome fear and to return to the truth of who you are and walk your path of golden light, your destiny that's waiting for you. So, my friends, if you're ready, like me, and you're at that fork in the road, understand the paths, see them before you, know you've walked one, and know what that one path of fear feels like. Get very familiar with it. So you know in your body when you're on that road. And make the conscious choice to start to take a step on that golden path of light. One step. That's all you need to take. Inspired action towards your dream, your destiny, whatever it is that you are afraid to walk towards, right? And if the step is calling that school because you want to take a course, or teaching that yoga class like me because you just got certified like 5 months ago, whatever the step is, it's our job to take it. Whether fear is telling us we can't, as soon as you do, you're going to notice how magical your world becomes because you are on that path of golden light. It's like the entire outside environment changes for you as soon as you walk through that one fear, the first little step you can take. And it's like you're living in heaven. Why? Because you are on that path of golden light. Everything is synchronistic. Everything is happening for you. You are surrounded by love. It's like you are in some other plane. And that is what they mean by jumping timelines, right? It's just you are experiencing that. Why? Because you've dropped the veil of fear and you can see. And you're back in love and you're back in your spirit and you're taking that step towards using your gifts and talents, being of service, whatever that is for you. If it's writing the first page of your book or actually sitting down and turning a laptop on and starting to type, whatever it is, right? Get familiar with it. Get familiar with the fear. Understand what it's doing. That's all you need is your understanding of what it's doing. It's keeping you on the old road. And it's taking your vision of the other road and keeps pushing it farther and farther away with whatever excuses it's coming up with. But aren't you tired of that old road? Don't you want better? Don't you want more? Don't you want love? Don't you want to feel love? Don't you want to feel happy, joyful, fulfilled, surrounded by loving, beautiful souls? Maybe having a partner that mirrors you, right? with love and compassion, not harm or abuse or meanness or suffering. Real, true, authentic, soul-filled love where you can be you and you're honored for that rather than condemned. That, my friends, is what's on the golden path of light. That is the road that's waiting for all of us. We just have to choose. And that means choosing ourselves, honoring your soul, honoring you, no matter if you fall down, if you fail, if other people judge you, other people try to talk you out of it, you still keep going. Because when we advocate for ourselves and our vision and our destiny and what we want, life will support you. And every time you take a step, you are held and something else shows up. Trust me, it is quite profound how when we stop walking that road of fear and we start walking the path of golden light, of love, and our truest essence, everything starts to show up after every step we take. Gifts, people, opportunities, love, all of it. So, my friends, we're at the fork in the road. I see two roads now, and I know you see those roads. Love or fear. We can't be in both at the same time. You hear me say this all the time. It's one or the other. Am I in fear or love? Am I in my ego or my spirit? Where am I? What road am I on? These are the questions you can ask yourself every day to practice staying awake, staying conscious, and understanding your mind. The mind will try to pull you back because that's what the mind's used to. It's been running the show your entire life, and your ego mind has been in control. And now we have to train our ego mind to stay quiet. And that is building the muscle of silence and allowing ourselves to hear our truest essence, our spirit, as we're guided every step of the way with what's next on this golden path of light. So I'll see you there on that road as we all walk together. I love you, and I will see you on the next one.